Located in the northern Cordillera of British Columbia, the Tahltan Indigenous knowledge holders have chosen Tuya Lake as one of the Arctic Passions monitoring sites. The remote, subalpine Tuya Lake has experienced marked warming of about 1.7 degrees Celsius over the last 50 years. This is about 3 times the global centennial average. Overall, these high-latitude aquatic ecosystems are disproportionately sensitive to climate change. This can be seen in recent warming-induced state changes in northern aquatic communities. Close to the lake are the headwaters of the Stikine, Mackenzie, and Yukon rivers, making the area one of the most significant aquatic ecosystems in Northern America. Tuya Lake is deep and currently oligomesotrophic, and is only accessible via floatplane, hiking, or by ATV or snow machines. In September 2022, the Snowchange science and documentation team was guided by Tahltan leader Curtis Rattray on a field mission to establish a baseline, learn about its current status and trends, and gather Indigenous knowledge of the lake.
Okay.
I saw 2 moose.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. They call them double lean-tos. So it had a support pole like this. So the support beams would have been big. And then you take your poles and you make your roof like this, right?
Is the roof from like a spruce boughs or?
No, you use like I probably pine poles because they're longer, straighter, like pine trees.
Straight.
Yeah. Up in Chesley, up in the valleys of Chesley on the west side, there was homes that were like that, built like in those locations. All she did is just, when she was a girl, she told me that her dad pointed up to that valley and explained that that's where they explained how these houses were built and where they were at, up those valleys. Because these would have been winter, where the winter villages are at.
Yeah.
The geological significance of this region is that these are volcanoes. And the geologists have now coined a term called tuyas. And a tuya is where the lava is coming up through the ice. And the lava doesn't have the energy to penetrate through the top, through that ice. And so the ice ends up winning. And so the lava comes up onto that ice, it flattens out, and it starts to solidify and cool. And so when the ice melts, you end up with these tuyas, which are basically steep-sloped, flat-topped volcanic mountains. That one's Tuya Butte. The camps and things like that would have been in here like how we've got ours right now, right? It's in the trees, tree line. So you got access to firewood, shelter from the elements. And then hunting parties would have gone out from there. So today that's one of the terms they call that is spike camps. But that's a fall hunting camp. And today our people still use that type of technique. The only thing is that these hunting camps have become a lot more, they're modern, like with wall tents and that type of thing, right? But in the old days, they would have had permanent shelters and things like that built there because they keep coming back generation after generation to these places. And for them, The salmon would have been down here at the end, right? So that would have been a summer activity, later summer activity, because it would have taken the salmon quite a while to get up here. But because they also had another village, these people here had another village down at Tahltan, which is kind of like the capital of Tahltan back in those days of our nation. But there'd be trails or roads coming up this way, foot roads coming up this way. And all along there, they would have had these camps. And each one of these camps would have been stocked with the things you need, cookware. What's changed up here is change of the vegetation and things like that. Like all of these willows and the grasses have kind of choked out the original, tundra, alpine tundra, because the alpine tundra would have come down a lot lower, right? In the old days, the elders say that there used to be no trees in Tahltan country. So the forest starts to, repopulate the area after the ice receded and that type of thing. And the other thing that I find that's changing is the wind storms and the velocity of the wind. What I find is our wind storms have increased in frequency and velocity. And what I find is a lot more trees are being knocked down as a result of that. Because the winters are milder, we're getting a lot more wet snow. And the wet snow has an effect on the trees because now they're carrying a lot heavier load and they start to droop more. It's changing the forest in that kind of a way.
As next steps, the Tahltans and Snowchange will develop a baseline of socio-ecological relevant events focusing on ecosystem changes of significance. The database will include temporal, linguistic, and spatial scales and dimensions. The purpose is to strengthen and diversify monitoring capacity and support adaptation and risk mitigation. By gathering oral and other historical accounts, we can reconstruct key events previously unknown to larger audiences and make them accessible via the database. Tuya Lake is on the front lines in our understanding of how the biocultural landscapes of the Tahltan people are changing and is a central location for the Arctic Passion work in the region.